Welcome to the Scientific Investor channel. Today we will share some interesting information regarding the digital asset XRP. Now we will actually go through all the information individually and discuss through them. Now once we go through those related to XRP, then we do have some as in general, say the general financial traditional market, how it can actually affect the XRP as a digital asset. Now we will actually try to illustrate my perspective after reading these information and trying to make a perspective and look at what's gonna happen next. But yeah, it's not actually sure what's gonna happen next, but we can be prepared after looking at all these as fundamentals. Then we can actually go into the charts. Say we'll do technical analysis for XRP, we'll use some technical indicators, go through different time frames and check what patterns are currently forming and at what range we are trading within. So the support and resistance area. Then we will look at the long-term trend range, in which we were actually previously discussing about this particular drop here from this area, and it has some similarity within this area, either it's this one or the second. We'll actually discuss through all of that, but before that I would like to request you guys, please do support the channel, subscribe and like the contents I provide. I do videos on a daily basis. I try to bring out interesting information regarding our favorite cryptocurrency XRP and BTC and Ether to showcase how the market is behaving, because if I only come up with XRP, it's only digital regarding the digital asset XRP. But in order to show the wider perspective, I mostly look at Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's just the top three currencies. I'm not looking at some cryptocurrencies which are having small and medium market cap, whereas these can be considered as large market cap altcoins. So just the top three. Now again, please do support the channel. As this is a new channel, I would like to request you guys again, please do support the channel. Now this is the first one, and it's showing that MoneyGram CEO states that $100 million in dollars has been pushed through Ripple and XRP. Now we'll actually directly read what he stated instead of putting my words inside that. We went live with Ripple at the end of July. Since then, on a cumulative basis, we just the other day passed 100 million in total volume that will push through the platform. So it's directly from the CEO of a established financial organization who is having all those regulatory checks, blah 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 and all. Still they managed to do this. Now at the end, he's actually showcasing that we are doing things with Mexican peso, Filipino peso, Australian dollar. Now at present, what I feel is Mexican peso, Filipino and Australian are the corridor which on demand liquidity is live. So this is not just the use of Ripple's software like Xcurrent. They are actually using XRP. So in this, Holmes says MoneyGram is still experimenting with the technology which uses XRP as a bridge between fiat currencies. So they are still experimenting that. But even though they are experimenting, whatever is happening in between these corridors are real, right? They are solving real problems for their real customers, delivering promises for their customers. Now, what he actually thinks is that the impact at present is not that big, but in 5 to 10 years from now, it will be. That's from Alex. Now, it's very new. So this is nascent technology. We are learning a lot as we roll out this, and really in some respects. So as these financial institutions are using this technology and understanding that the current payment rails, which is created decades before, is it's time to just move on, because they are not actually modifying that. Yeah, they are trying to do something, but it's like, as CEO of Ripple, the company states, they are kind of bringing in the outer case of say Ferrari or Lamborghini something and putting into the old vintage car. That doesn't increase the speed or reduce the friction, right, in the payments. Now this is the next one. an article showing that too big to jail coin. Like, mostly they are actually stating that, however, Ripple, Tron, Block One, and Tezos have serious capital to deploy, more than almost of the all crypto funds, and have not been shy about their investing pace in complementary crypto and legacy business. So why is it too big to jail? XRP is one of the most controversial cryptocurrencies in the crypto space, since it is deemed to be extremely centralized. Now, I don't actually share the perspective of this writer because I don't think it's centralized. When I look at, say, Bitcoin, yeah, I can say that it's centralized if you're comparing it with XRP, because most of the trading volume for BTC or the mining stations for BTC is located at 2 or 3 areas. So that's centralized, not XRP. If you look at the number of validators which Ripple, the company, owns, it's really low. I think it's below 7% or something. So okay, we'll continue with the author's perspective. If the SEC was willing to settle for a mere 24 million with Block One over their year-long $4 billion US crowd sale, then I don't think we should expect to see a case against Ripple, whose advisory ranks are the best in the industry. Ex-regulators Mary Jo White, Ben Snarky, Gene Sperling are advisors or directors. Is XRP a security? I don't personally think that. If XRP is deemed as a security, the issue will be coming like you can't actually transact it cross-border. It will be really difficult to do so. Now, this is about actually doubt regarding a new corridor, because that's a tweet from a real-life beta tester. Real-life beta tester. He's actually showing we do have USD to Filipino peso. We do have Mexico. We do have Australian. We now know that, but at present there is something popping out. Yet there is no volume which is shown here, but still what you have to look at here is it's still showing Euro USD. So this Euro USD, if it is a new corridor, that's gonna be huge, because considering Europe and America, the transaction amount will be huge. The payments for business use cases will be more, so the volume will be increasing. So if just the MoneyGram as an institution is pushing 100 million, then consider all of them who are working with this technology. They are not stating it openly. They don't want to showcase that to the general public that they are pushing this much and this as a class can actually appreciate in price. They don't want us to know that. Now, this is actually regarding the general financial institution, the traditional one, in which you can see that the world's most liquid stock market is now illiquid. So this is all about liquidity. And who solves the issues for liquidity? It's on-demand liquidity, XRP. Right, as far as I believe, I think this is actually made for this particular use case to manage the next coming liquidity crisis. Now, that's just my perspective. Now, this is from SEC to boost access to crypto investment with proposed new investor definition. Now, if they are to do this, say more hands will actually come in to the crypto market. They'll try to buy in more. Now, this is another one. This is an interesting one because it actually shows you that people can laugh all about XRP, Ripple and all. Now, what they have to understand is, away from securities, some other compelling applications for DLT in capital markets include payments. So who's doing payment? Ripple's XRP ledger provides real-time cross-border settlements using tokens that represent central bank currencies. Now, that's interesting, right? Using tokens that represent central bank currencies. In foreign exchange, HSBC Everywhere tool processed more than 3 million intercompany FX transactions worth 250 billion in its first year. So that's huge. Just think, if XRP is actually representing central bank currencies, then what we talked here yesterday regarding the post from updates from ECB regarding central bank digital currency, as they were stating that we can't directly offer the central bank digital currency to the general public, whereas we'll use an intermediary. So here you can see that who is representing the central bank digital currencies. That's XRP, right? The on-demand liquidity. Now the next, we'll move on to the next one, and it's from Real XRP Boy. Why XRP simply makes so much sense, more sense. They know this already. Ripple lent a hand. Ripple also cooperate with legislators and regulators worldwide to guide the implementation of sensible laws governing digital asset and associated business. And that's what we lack as of now, right? Now this is from XRP Darren, showing that financial stability concerns about central bank digital currency. Now you should be trying to read through the lines, say at least trying to connect the dots. What we are read through yesterday related to central bank digital currencies and what we are reading today, these are all news and information coming up towards the XRP community. What we have to understand is we have to read through this, try to analyze this, put into a perspective, and hold on to an asset as the value is not the current price. That's for sure. Okay, if central bank digital currencies are interest bearing, central banks can defend against this by lowering deposit rates, even to negative levels. Now you have to understand that. Even to negative levels. Note that private narrow banks might be happy to receive this inflow and don't have the incentive to lower deposit interest rates. Now, as US dollar central bank digital currency may be problematic for foreign banks, they may find dollar funding and even local currency funding flies to dollar central bank digital currency. Say if there is something like that, most of the money will actually flow back into dollar. The Fed may have less interest in defending foreign banks. Yes, of course, if there is, a liquidity crisis which is coming on their way, why should they try to protect others instead of taking care of themselves? Now, this is an old tweet from David Shaws, which is being highlighted by Real XRP Boy. In the future, like it's on April, right, of 2018. In the future, I like to see banks set up an entity that's not technically a bank, but within their crop umbrella to hold the XRP for them. For now, solutions that don't require them to hold, because XRP flows from one exchange to other directly. So that's really something you should consider, because this is coming directly from David Shaws. You have to keep that in mind. Currently, no banks, no institutions like financial institutions are holding XRP, whereas they are just using it through an exchange. But as we know, banks are coming as crypto asset supporters. They are allowing you to deposit your crypto with them. So custodying crypto assets is being common in financial institutions. So the banks are becoming custodians for these digital assets. So now here what David Shaw says is, I'd like to see banks set up an entity that's not technically a bank, but just to hold their XRP for them, because the regulatory existing framework doesn't actually allow them to do so, but they can manage that. Now this is from Kevin Cage, showing that the insecure compete against other people while the confident compete against themselves. So if you are confident with your digital asset holdings, say XRP, you should not be looking at others. Say some coin just flew 100%, 200% in price. You don't have to look at that. What you have to do is just go through the fundamentals of the asset you are holding, get to read all the new information, stay updated, and be motivated, because that's what you need. Because if you are just selling it off, capitulating from your portfolio, your holdings, then you're gonna lose at the end. Now this, a bit old, say 15 hours old, but it's more or less interesting to look at this. Say this is a USD flowing into XRP. The price is too low, but what you have to check is that corridor is on fire. It's stated here. Say it looks like USD XRP corridor is on fire. That looks really cute. Now there's XRP on a 4-hour chart. Now, as we discussed previously in our last video, we can see some trend forming in the shorter time frame. So this is actually moving within this range, and we can expect that the price may continue within that unless it breaks to the upside, right? So as of now, if we zoom in, what we can see is the price is actually bouncing from the general support area of this trend line. Now it is below the 20-day moving average. So unless the price pushes above the 20-day moving average, we can't expect it to bounce again. Because I stated this comparing this scenario here, sorry about that, this scenario here. So say if you're zooming in and are trying to analyze it in this way, like it's just my perspective, I just understood it in this way. So I'm trying to put that in front of you guys. If you guys accept it, yeah, that's fair. Otherwise, if you guys have any comments, do comment that in the comment section below. Okay, anyway, this one is the first flow down, right? This one. And now we are making something like this. So I personally believe that we are about to come back down and test this level. But I'm not sure whether it's gonna just hold on to this area or move even lower than that. I'm not sure about that, because this low is say 0.17. Some of the analysts are predicting 0.15, 0.12 something. I don't actually believe all those, but there is still room for this to happen. Say if you actually take on a weekly chart and look at the MACD, you can see that there is still room for it to move to the downside. But what I personally consider is the price is actually moving to the downside, but from late 2018 the trend in MACD is towards the opposite side. So that's showing you that there is underlying strength. There are buyers at the bottom area, so they were actually accumulating and still be doing the same. So what you have to understand is in the longer time frame, we are actually kind of looking at this particular pattern here. And yes, it's not necessarily repeating itself 100%. There may be similarity in the cycles. Say if that same is to show a similarity here, then I personally think that it's gonna come. Like I'll try to illustrate that. Say it just broke one side, now it'll retest and then come back down again to check that support level and then move to the upside. So that's actually a possibility which can happen soon. So if we look at the same in 1 hour chart, we can see that the price is still moving within that range, and in an hourly chart we can see that the price is kind of flirting with the 50 and 20-day moving averages. So if it managed to go above that, that's actually a good news, a positive one. But if it is actually flirting with that and getting pushed below that, then you should be expecting a drop of price somewhere around 0.165, 0.17. So we need to get this double bottom here. At least, you know, if it's to happen, if the history is to repeat itself, then that should be the case. Otherwise, say we can consider 1 drop and 2 drop, that's it, then we'll move to the higher area. But I'm not sure about that, because when we consider the total general trend here, which is forming here, then yeah, I think we should be making a low which is somewhat near to that of the previous low, and then consolidating there and moving up high. That would be the perfect scenario. And looking at the general crypto market, we can see that last 24 hours it's in red. So that's not a good news, right? Most of them don't like to hear that. Now this coin market cap, today I'm using coin market cap along with coin paprika just to show that here in coin paprika it's showing 0.189 for XRP, 7,160 for Bitcoin, whereas here in coin market cap it's 7,200 for Bitcoin and 0.91 for XRP. Yeah, in percentage, if you look at it's not that different, but just wanted to showcase that based on how they calculate, the price is actually different in different exchanges or different platforms. So you should be cautious about that. Now today we will be wrapping up here, and I would like to request you guys again, please do support the channel. This is a new channel and I need support from you guys. If you guys like the content I provide on a daily basis, please do subscribe and like the contents. I'll meet you guys on the next one. Bye for now.